Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie, Rantz, Tommy Krysan, TK joining us over at Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. They've got them in the timeout room over there because they got a big party going on. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Big announcement coming out next Wednesday morning from the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We'll tell you about that. Then of course, we're presented by LeBaire Casino. Everything we do on Sports Shorts, daily, radio, all presented by Sports Shorts Daily. TK, if you can mute your mic when I'm talking, just 'cause it's a little bit loud back there for the people at home. Today, we got a lot of topics to get to. Of course, if you're an LSU baseball fan, it doesn't get any better than last night. LSU going on the road at Oklahoma. It was cold conditions. You could tell that from the stands. Everybody was bundled up. Looked like a February game. But Cade Anderson was not cold at all. In fact, the sophomore lefty was on fire. The St. Paul graduate from the North Shore who didn't pitch his senior year because of injury. People say, well, why did he go to college? That's why. He didn't get a chance to pitch. He was hurt. And he looked fantastic. You know, LSU has hopes of keeping Cade Anderson back for his junior year. That may have gone out the window last night when he threw a complete game shutout on the road against a top 10 team in the country. 14 punchies, 2 walks, and just got better. You know, look like old school pitcher, got better as the game went on. The breaking ball command was there all night. Fastball had life on it. Oklahoma was just free swinging enough to where they helped them out at times, chasing balls that were 50-50. And Cade Anderson was incredible. Credit Jay Johnson. He did something that you don't ever see anymore, particularly at a game that's in early April. And that is allow a guy to throw a complete game, allow a guy to throw over 130 pitches. He was around 134, 135 on his pitch count. And that is just unprecedented. You might see that in postseason. You might see that in May. Somebody who reads a box score may go, ooh, I don't know about that. But if you were to watch it, like Tommy and I did, you see that he wasn't laboring at all, and he was as dominant as can be, TK.
He really was. His total command, but he got out of that bases loaded jam early. That was huge, and then he just never looked back after that. And the other thing I always look at, right, he threw this game, and they were only up 2-0. So, like, when they got a guy on base, he's a big, although the wind was blowing in, he's a big fly away from a tie game. It's one thing to do what he did if the score was 8-0, you know, it was 10-0, but man, what a performance. You're right. He went right into the first round of the draft last night if he wasn't there already. So huge performance and a great way to get the weekend going for the Tigers.
You know, I thought it was interesting. You know, he had the 7th inning. Cade Anderson goes out there in the 7th inning, and they get a leadoff double. And LSU's up 2-0 at that point. That would have been a natural spot to make the move if you were an ultra-conservative head coach or a head coach that thought he saw him slack up a little bit. You know, maybe the velocity, you know, was down 3-4 miles an hour, and you think, 2-0, I got 2 of the best relievers in the country I can go get right now to help me shut this door. Instead, he left him out there, got a little hairy in that 7th when that ball looked like with 2 outs. It was a 2-run homer off the bat, but it curled foul, and then he punched him out. It was the first pitch swinging, home run, foul, and then the next 2 pitches strikes him out and ends the threat. And in the 8th and 9th, there was nothing for them to do. I mean, he was as dominant in the 8th and 9th as he was any 2 innings of the ball game. But credit Jay Johnson, credit Nate Yeske. They could have easily gone to any of their 2 All-American relievers, and instead they left them out there. And now LSU is set up in great shape to win this series with having, you know, 2 fresh arms coming out of that bullpen that both can go 4 innings apiece.
I totally agree with you. And I thought 8th, 9th inning, here comes Evans, here comes Cowan, you know, nail this thing down and get ready for the weekend. But, you know, the eyeball test, you and I always talk about that. Anderson never looked spent. He never looked like – and another thing you and I talked about all the time. When he missed, he didn't miss by much. You know, he was just a little bit off, a little bit up, a little bit down. A couple of calls could have maybe went the other way, but that's going to happen. As your coach, Skip Bertman, always said, they're going to miss some calls in there. But, the key that I look at is how much do you miss by? He was total command for all 130 plus pitches and set the tone for the weekend. And wow, what a performance by Cade Anderson. That'll be one that gets talked about for a long time.
Well, the other thing that you got to like as a Tiger fan in a league that right now on paper has about 4 or 5 teams at the top of the standings that you could put in a bag and pick one, and any of them could win a national championship, is that, you're now winning in different ways, right? We know the limitations of LSU's pitching staff out of, with middle relief. We know that, Shores on Sunday is a little bit of a coin flip, but we know their lineup is great. We know their defense is really good. You're winning games by scoring a lot of runs like they did against Mississippi State on Sunday. And then this is 2 weeks in a row now. You win games where you don't score a lot of runs, but yet you outpitch the opponent. And so that's the sign of a good team, winning in different ways, getting it done with different pitchers, different players. And you can win a high-scoring game. You can win a low-scoring game. And so the Tigers right now feeling themselves at Oklahoma. I at one point months ago, Tommy, when I saw this game on the schedule that LSU was at Oklahoma, considered going to Oklahoma for this series in Norman. It took a family wedding that I had on the books to not book that schedule, but looking at the weather last night, looking at the weather that they're going to have to worry about today and tomorrow, glad I didn't go.
One thing I got to admit, Ronnie, I was surprised at the ballpark. Okay, I've never been to Norman. I never remembered seeing them on TV if I caught a few innings back in the day. But we got high school stadiums that are a lot bigger than that, what I mean? And I don't worry about the attendance because of the bad weather, the cold weather. We saw the people bundled up. But I would just thought they'd have had more of a ballpark. Now, maybe they're going to add on. They got those berms and maybe they're going to add some stuff now that they're in the SEC and they're going to get that SEC money. But I was surprised at the size of the ballpark.
Well, they have, I'm going to say, I'd have to look it up, but just a little bit I know about that ballpark, I would say it's a 3,000 seat ballpark, something like that. And the reality, Tommy, is that that's sufficient, for their program. That's sufficient for 98% of the programs in the country. Just to build facilities is a wasted effort and waste of money. For Oklahoma, outside of when they host a regional, they're not busting at the seams to go watch college baseball.
Well, I didn't expect to see Alex Box Stadium or a facility like Arkansas or Starkville's thing or even Georgia. But I thought I'd see more than what I saw. But you're right. If it fits their program, but that as it goes forward, that could work against them for getting a regional because they can't sell as many tickets.
Yeah. Well, those sort of days where the facility size mattered for regionals, they don't do that anymore. It's strictly a seating deal. But you look at Missouri, who's in the Midwest, that's the worst facility in the league. Missouri is truly there are truly high school baseball programs in the state of Louisiana that have better facilities than what Missouri has. I would say Barb being one of them. Obviously Oklahoma's underwhelming. Vanderbilt, underwhelming, although they have improved it tremendously in the last 5 to 10 years and are continuing to do some things, not only with the baseball facility at Vandy, but that whole street. They actually are blocking off and making that a walk-through thoroughfare mall type thing. I mean, Vandy's got plenty of money, and they are, doing some really cool things. So when LSU football plays there this year, go check it out. I mean, you're not going to recognize the street and that behind the football stadium, behind the baseball stadium, that's incredible what they're doing now. But yeah, TK, if you're Oklahoma, even Texas to a certain degree, right? Like I heard from people that went to Austin that were underwhelmed with Dish Falk Field. Because they've heard so much. It's a legendary ballpark. I mean, Texas is up there as one of the blue bloods in college baseball, one of the all-time great programs. And we're so spoiled in the SEC and used to the A&Ms and the LSUs, the states, the Arkansas, et cetera. And, Florida put $40-50 million renovation in their stadium a few years ago. We're used to those facilities. And when you go to Dish Falk, it's 7,000. Well, the old box was 7,000, and it's nice, but it's 7,000, and it's an older model of a ballpark that's been remodeled over the years. But yeah, I mean, we have to remember, and I say this all the time. Look at the Raging Cajuns. Look at UO Lafayette. Their ballpark holds like 5,000, but their ballpark is better than Missouri. It's better than Oklahoma. It's in my mind, right there with Auburn, even after the renovations that they did, recently. It was better than Kentucky prior to Kentucky doing a brand new stadium 3 years ago or so. So it's and in the Raging Cajuns, they're top 20, top 25 in the country when it comes to attendance year in and year out. It used to be top 10, but the other programs has kind of picked up a little bit in the league, SEC. So we're spoiled, man. An hour apart. Louisiana baseball fans have LSU and UL, two of the top 20, attended baseball programs and two of the nicest college baseball facilities in America.
I agree with you completely. To be an hour apart and have two, and that one year they both hosted a regional. So it's a college baseball mecca. The I-10 corridor, and for you, and McNeese has got a nice park. Tulane's got a nice park. So it's a football state here in Louisiana, but baseball is alive and well.
All right, so 6:30 tonight on the app, on the ESPN app, and then of course 2:00 tomorrow. Supposedly tonight's not so much the threat. Tomorrow is really the threat. So we'll have to pay attention to when that game might get done. Final four, men's and women's, a battle of the Titans. TK.
Yeah, blue blood, 7-1 seeds, 1-2 seed. Who's a favorite? UConn's the only 2 seed of the teams playing, and they're the biggest favorite at 7.5 points over UCLA. So, hey, 2 women's games tonight, 2 men tomorrow. Women's championship Sunday night, men Monday night. College basketball, it's the weekend of it. I mean, this is for all their fans. Whether you got a team in the hunt or a team, your favorite team or not, it's still the mecca of college basketball. The March Madness, the women, the men, etc.
You got a prediction on who will win the national championship from the women's side? Who will win the national championship from the men's side?
I'm going to go South Carolina just because been there, done that. And I think they're going to end up getting it done. But if it's South Carolina and UConn in the finals, that'll be something to see with the 2 coaches in that game. In the men, Auburn's been the kind of number 1 team most of the year, in and out of that. But Florida is the odds-on favorite to win it. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking Auburn finds a way to get it done. I'm sorry, Duke is the odds-on favorite to win it. But I'm just thinking Auburn's going to find a way to get it done with Bruce Pearl. We said this earlier. All 4 coaches in the men's Final Four, none of them have won a national title as a coach. So somebody Monday night is cutting that down with the first national title for them as a coach. Shire, the coach at Duke, won one as a player. But the other guys, they're looking for that first title, and that's going to be special for them.
To me, this is where it gets scary, right? Because in the Elite Eight, Alabama looked like the best team in the country after what they did leading up to the Elite Eight and in the game they played in the Sweet 16. And then Duke reminded you, no, we're the daddy. And I liked Duke all year long. Thought they, were going to win the national championship based on what I saw the first 2 months of the season. I kind of made that prediction in June, but Alabama, had me fooled, with the way they played that Sweet 16 game, just as perfect as you possibly can. And then Duke went out and just handled them. So Duke, I'm back on the Duke train. I had Alabama plus 7.5 in that Elite Eight game. Not that I necessarily thought they'd win, but I thought they would surely cover. And they didn't even come close to covering their leftovers. And so I would take Duke. I'll take Duke on the men's side. And then South Carolina's had 2 survive and advance games in a row. I mean, literally won by a bucket the last 2 games in the NCAA tournament. So I'm kind of torn a little bit because I'm wondering what's going on there. They're not playing their best ball at the right time. UCLA looked the best against LSU. Texas has the lockdown defense. And then UConn's got Hall of Fame coach and one of the best players in the country. So I'm gonna, I'm I'm gonna probably go with Dawn Staley in South Carolina, but by the hair of my chinny chin chin. You know, I mean they're they're probably the most battle tested team. They've got all the experience, not just this year, but in the past, and a coach who knows how to get it done. But not loving this pick. I could just as easily have gone Texas right here. So going to go South Carolina, but just a little bit. But I really like Duke, and I hope the ping pong balls go the Pelicans' way to get the Duke superstar.
And again, a great place to watch all these games and make your bets is at this ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBear's. You know, tonight, doubleheader, tomorrow night, doubleheader, Sunday, Monday. Go to all of it. Pick a night you want to go and just get the great food and drink, and the atmosphere will be pretty cool out there at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at LeBear's Casino and Hotel.
And you can go see my man Jackson Demouy. He works in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at the window. Will help you place all your action. That's Chris Demouy's son, who Chris Demouy pitched at LSU in the '90s. He was a great pitcher from Baton Rouge, and Jackson's an intern with the Baton Rouge Rougarou, and will be with us this summer. So go check him out.
There's another connection, Ronnie. My first year at Most Blessed Sacrament, Jackson was one of the football coaches for the eighth grade team there. So that's how I got to know him, obviously. So it's a small world, as they always say. But, hey, we'll see how that goes. But it'll be a great place to go and check everything out.
Major League Baseball, we're a week in, a couple of big storylines. One, Paul Skeens picks up his first win of the year and his second start of the season on Wednesday. The torpedo bat still is everywhere. You'll see it at the Rougarou games this summer, by the way. We'll be swinging the Marucci torpedo bats. But Dylan Cruz, ouch, 0-18. You know, obviously he's not going to stay 0-18, but man, you know, I feel bad for him because the worst 0-18 stretch you can possibly have is the first 18 at-bats of the season. You know, if it was happening in the middle of July, that's terrible. You get through it. But, I mean, he's probably thinking to himself, am I ever going to get a hit? Am I going to play in the major leagues ever again? You know, when you start a season 0-18, it's tough.
Well, he's going to have to get through it, and he's too good a ball player not to get that first hit one day. Maybe he gets it today. But, we're hoping that turns around quickly for Dylan Cruz. And, Alex Bregman, his first big day for the Red Sox yesterday in a win. So Major League Baseball starting to take shape a little bit. You know, it's another thing, Ronnie, we didn't mention when we were talking before, but next week's the Masters. Are you going to be in Augusta? I mean, you normally are. Okay.
No.
But Buzzy Heidel, Gallery Garden again. Okay. But and we'll talk a lot of – and Mike Holland. We'll talk a lot about this Monday when I'm back here at Court Street Cafe. But the Masters is next week, so I've been reading some stuff and getting ready for it.
Yeah, well, I talked to Buzzy and Mike. They drove up yesterday, I think. They're going to stop and play golf along the way in Birmingham, a couple spots before they get to Augusta on Sunday, and then of course Monday. Listen, you know, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people either watching this show or know someone and that would love to do what Buzzy and Mike do, which is they are gallery guards, right? They work a whole, but they work it all week, 7 days, Monday through Sunday. They are there at early in the morning to late in the evening to afternoon, and they are on a hole. They don't leave that hole other than go to the bathroom. And they are there 7 days in a row. Doesn't matter if it's raining. Doesn't matter if it's sunny, hot, whatever. Through those conditions, if there are golfers on that course, they are on that course. And so it sounds exotic, but they don't get paid. The only thing they get is a hat and a shirt. And then in May, they go back and they play the course every May. They use carts. You don't get to walk it. You play for the members' tees, not the tips, like the pros. But you get to go back and play it in May. And people say, well, that's worth it. Think about it. You got to take off work for a week or more because you got to drive back, either crack late night, Sunday night, or fly back. You know what I mean? You got to get there from wherever you live in the country because these gallery guards are from all over America. You got to get there. You got to work 7 straight days. You're not getting paid. You don't have your cell phone in your pocket during the day. You're sitting in that chair, whatever, doing your job. So it is a hard job. Yes, it's awesome. It's amazing when you get to travel back there on your own dime. That's another thing. You travel on your own dime. You got to put yourself up on your own dime while you're there, all to play the course in mid-May. And every year, when you talk to Mike Hollander and Buzzy Heidel, and they're on that drive back home late at night on a Sunday, or you talk to them on Monday, I don't think I'm doing it again. Yeah, this is probably my last year. Now a week later, yeah, I'm in. I can't wait till next year. But those first 24, 48, 72 hours, there's some difficult conversations being had about, are we going to do this again next year? Because that's a long week, Coach, and some weeks are longer than others.
Well, they continue to do it, and I tip my hat to them. I'd love to do it. It probably never work out that I would do it, but I would give that a whirl. But I might be like on the way home going, okay, I got my taste of that. That's good. It's like a couple of weeks ago when I was at the Players in Sawgrass with the Island Green. That was awesome. Now, am I going to do it again? I don't know, but it was certainly great to be out there for a couple of days and during the Players tournament. So tip my hat to Mike and Buzzy, and we look forward to the reports. I guess a couple of weeks down the road, we'll have him on Sports Shorts Radio and find out all about it and see if he had to help like McElroy find his golf ball or something like that.
All right. Don't forget, mark your calendar, April 12th, LSU, not spring game, LSU practice and an autograph session. You get a chance to meet the players, take a picture with Brian Kelly. TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe as we get out of here.
Well, I'm here on a Friday, which is a little bit different. Normally we're here on Mondays, but tonight at 5 o'clock, crawfish, boiled crawfish. Come get them. Tomorrow night is steak night, filet or ribeye. They get their steaks from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. But crawfish tonight at 5. Jason and the staff do a great job. The steaks tomorrow night. Not open on Sundays anymore at this point in time, but check out the crawfish tonight if you're doing the Lent thing, and then the steak night tomorrow. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. You'll be glad you did.
All right. For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rantz. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share this video, and we will talk to you tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, 10 to noon, ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles. Tune into Sports Shorts Radio, download the apps, and you can hear us anywhere in the country. We'll be back with more Sports Shorts Daily on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone.